because he thought the originals might be back to be kind of family for him, but now he's found out they've got ulterior motives. Yeah. What's kind of next for him? Did he actually take Haley?
Oh, that's right. I can't comment on whether he did or didn't. I can tell you maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Yeah, that's something that will be revealed though in the next episode. And as far as about the family coming in, yeah, that's he was suspicious with Thierry that we saw. Threw that in there, and yeah, his suspicion has grown, and a lot of the cards will be laid out on the table in the next few episodes. So it makes it like the roles will change.
Well, we've kind of seen Marcel kind of developing into kind of the hero of the story because we discovered he rescued Davina. Yeah. So, or is he going to be pursuing the white hat role, or is he going to put the black hat back on?
I haven't worn a hat since the pilot. Figuratively. Yeah, that's one of the things. As far as whether hero or villain, I usually try to stay away from, because I think he's just a person like anybody else. Sometimes he just does some bad things, like execute a witch. And it's funny that you say because he saved Davina, that sort of makes him a good guy. So he can do things and act out of kindness and love. I for me personally, I hope that he is more of a hero. I think that suits me as far as playing the character. I would like to see him seen more as a good guy.
His relationship with Davina, is it strictly one of he rescued her and so he feels a kinship to her, or is there a little bit of using her there?
There's a little bit of.
I mean, we see using, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, initially, like you saw in that past episode, it's a kinship, a recognition of similar trait. The fact that they're both fighters. And when she says that she wants to get revenge on the witches and kill them all, then that's when it clicks that, her interests are also in Marcel's best interests as well. Or maybe not best interests, but yeah.
There's a saying that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and Tyler is coming to town.
Mm-hmm. Are
we going to see a lot of interaction between Tyler and Marcel?
I don't think I You may and you may not. But Tyler will be interacting with people. Marcel might be one of them. Yeah, but yeah, he's coming in and he'll shake things up and definitely have interactions with multiple, can I say that? With multiple characters. Yes.
So we saw him and Rebecca rekindle things. But he also said that he wasn't really in a place for a relationship right now. So are we going to see them kind of going back and forth with each other?
Yeah, I think with anyone that's ever really loved someone, you carry a torch for them. And the fact that Marcel said that he wasn't in a relationship, I think one is to let Klaus know that he didn't get to him. I think he genuinely wanted things to work out with Cammy because he wants to have that same feeling that he had with Rebecca. And so now that Cammy's sort of out of the picture, in sort of a strategic way as well, he would like things to rekindle. I think he would just like to love somebody. I think like all the characters would. And Rebecca is the one I think he thought it was close. But if something could just change in her or in maybe in him, that they would be together.
So he's not pursuing Cammy anymore at all?
I would say not in the same way that he was in the first few episodes. Maybe it's put it on the back burner, just in case. Plan B.
Well, what about Sophie?
What about Sophie?
Well, we have the reveal that he's got this history with her as well.
Oh yeah. Well, I think they're at a place where I think that there's some truth to that when he said it's a mutually satisfying hookup, and it was pretty much a fling, and so I don't think there's any deep romantic connection there. I don't know. Maybe. Never know.
Marcel gets around.
He does. He gets around. He's a charming guy.
Are we going to see more of Marcel's friendship with Thierry going forward?
I hope so. I hope so. That's still also something that's developing. Hopefully, we're going to hear word about getting the back nine, and I think that's something that's like the seeds have already been sown for that, and so he's not dead. So that makes him an option, I think, to be used either for Marcel or some of the other characters. So some sort of relationship with Thierry, I think, is going to form. I don't know. Hopefully, Thierry is all about forgiveness, because that's a really crappy thing to do. Put your friend in a garden who's been loyal to you for 70 years. So hopefully, maybe there'll be water under the bridge. I don't know. We'll see how Thierry's feeling.
Are we going to see more of the garden? Because that's kind of a really creepy punishment.
Isn't it? Yeah. We had real people in there with their hands.
It's very Cask of Amontillado.
Yeah.
If you know that short story.
Yeah. Yeah. Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely see the garden. Funny story, it actually caught on fire while we were doing. Somebody was in there, and we're filming, and right behind me, the set's catching on fire, and I look at the cameraman, and then I look at the sound guy, and then I'm looking at Callard, who plays Thierry, and both in our eyes, it's like, that set's definitely on fire. Set's definitely on fire. Are you gonna break first? No. Are you? No. Well, they're not gonna. Oh, all right. Set's on fire, guys. There you go. Throw some dirt on it. Throw some dirt on it. That was his answer. Throw some dirt on it, and it worked. But yeah, so the set did not burn down, and it will be used in future episodes.
That's actually one of my favorite things about the show is seeing, the vampire hierarchy that Marcel has created. I think it's really cool. Will we see more of that and kind of how he has the humans that he's kind of working against now with Father Kieran?
Oh yeah. Each like the human faction, they do show more of their colors and show just how strong they are in future episodes, and we get to see more about the humans, and hopefully the werewolves. I think will start gaining some steam, and I think everyone's now that the originals are in town, there's a change in power and things, and I think people are where they were sort of hidden and sheltered. They're like turtles coming out of their shell, and they're like, oh, it's not so bad. Marcel's distracted by Klaus. Maybe we can get some power back, and so everyone is looking to make a power play. And then even those you would suspect, maybe even those some within the inner circle, and with Klaus, he's always in somebody's ear whispering, deceits and trying to get people to rise up and overthrow him. So there'll be a little bit of that.
Would you describe Marcel as a man of action, or is he kind of more of a chess player?
I would say he is a chess player, but I think of it like poker terms. Like Joe and I play poker, and there's different personalities. One's like the lion, like who sits and waits and strikes and conserves energy, and then there's like the rock who just doesn't move, only plays like really strong hands, and then you have like a character like a jackal that's always like in there laughing, having fun. And I think Marcel, it would be more like the lion who will sit and wait and watch, but when he takes action, he's looking to go for the kill. Like there's a lot at stake. So
Because like with
both.
the witches, he seemed to take a really quick action. He didn't think about it; he just did it. And then he decided to clamp down really hard on it. It wasn't, I'm going to line things up, get my alliances. He just took charge.
Yeah, and I think it depends on where he's coming from. Like, I think you're right. If you're saying an action is an emotional response, chess is an intellectual response. With the witches, from what you saw with Davina, that's an emotionally charged response, where he sees the witches as the oppressors, who did something to this poor little girl where he himself was once oppressed and was, a victim. So that's a definite, in his mind, that's hands down, it's black or white. With other things regarding like Klaus and Rebecca, those are, and Thierry, those are moves that he has to think about his rules. He has to think about the relationship. He has to think about how it's going to affect everything else and how it's going to be seen. And that's when it becomes more of like a chess match. Yeah.
What's been the best part so far?
The best part?
The best thing that you've done so far.
You mean like
your favorite thing that you've done so far in the 6 episodes that we've seen, or in what we haven't seen?
Oh, okay. Seen pretty much the entire episode 9, our mid-season finale, like that. was a great experience. We did a scene, and Joe and I, he shed a tear, and I was like, oh man, this is he's bringing it. It was like that scene in Tropic Thunder where he's like, he's crying, I want to cry, I'm gonna cry too. And then afterwards, the director was like crying, and the DP was even like, he's like, give me a little bro pound. He had a little tear. And then the next day, we did a scene that was just two guys talking open and honestly. And then the writers came out and were like, yesterday was great, but today is like it's a real setup for the relationship between you guys. So I thought we really shifted things around there. So episode 9 for me is a huge one, and that's also my character's backstory. You get some flashbacks and things like that.
That's what I was about to ask. What kind of flashbacks can we look forward to?
There's some early 1800 stuff. I think they also have some flashbacks. Rebecca and Klaus and Elijah. So for the fans that love the wigs and things like that, there'll be some of those.
Are we gonna see you in a wig?
I wear a little. Yeah. A short one, not so intricate. Yeah.
Can you give us a little taste of what you're filming today in this episode?
This is the Casket Girls Festival, and apparently it's a real festival that they have. Apparently, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. Yeah, I just heard secondhand that it's a story about French girls that were brought over because there was a deficiency of women in New Orleans, and so they told them that they were coming over to be wed to like well-to-do French men, and then when they got off the boat, it was just kind of like they were and so they got taken in by some of the nuns, and they used to think that there's some vampires. Vampire. Well, how do you what's the correct word for vampirism?
Yeah.
Vampirism. Yeah. Well, there's some of that going on because they used to carry their clothes in these like suitcases or their dresses, those big dresses, in something that appeared to be shaped like a coffin. And so this is like a festival in tribute to that, and it has some ties to the originals with some of the originals, and so you get to see how that relates to it. And then also it's can I tell the title of the show? I think I don't know the title. Can you tell me?
Casket Girls.
Casket Girls. So this is the Casket Girls, and I might not be able to say this, but I'm going to say it. It's not detailed, but a lot of it, the story up in the first 6 episodes, you see it's a lot of my story, and Elijah's coming back. This is a chance for the girls to have a moment and really shine. So this is like I think more like the girls take their power back.
What I find interesting about Marcel is he's the first vampire we've really met that doesn't want to travel the world. He wants to stay exactly where he is. He's never left New Orleans.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, do you think there's like any sense of him, like even Rebecca asking him to leave, he was not into it.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? And do you think we'd ever see that change?
He's just really American. It's an American thing to do.
Right?
Yeah, and I say this because I'm guilty of it too. I just left the country for the first time and went to Thailand, and that was my first time out of it. And I asked my friends when I came back, have you ever been anywhere? And they go, I've been to Mexico, like for spring break. And I'm like, you've never been and seen other cultures? And I was like, yeah, that's interesting. So I think with Marcel, I think that he has a lot of business to take care of in New Orleans, and he's just been busy with that. I don't know. Maybe he's got loans to pay, student loans or something. He can't take a vacation. It's too much.
He's
got
king. He can't act.
Yeah, he's the king there.
Yeah. He's got people to look after, and day walkers and night walkers, and whatever.
It'd be chaos without Marcel's rules.
Yeah.
Marcel loves his rules.
Yeah, I think he's like that parent that feels like he can't go on vacation too long, or else, when he comes back.
Party.
Yeah, which it's New Orleans, so there's always a party. So I guess he doesn't really have an excuse. Yeah.
Okay, other questions?
Well, thank you guys.